This is Chris from Arizona.
Oh, how you doing, Chris?
I'm good. Hey, I just wanted to call in. I really can't chime in. I haven't been listening to the show after you guys got Alex on, and a couple of the other guys are still there. But I know that you guys always talk about the ISS and stuff, and you guys refer to the submarines, and I can only chime in on that because I've been on a submarine, and it's kind of interesting when you guys talk about watertight hatches and cleaning and all that type of stuff that doesn't really happen up there on ISS. Can I just touch on a few of those things right now? Or you guys calls with Alex?
Absolutely, that would be great because we talk about it all the time, and make comparisons. And a good friend of ours, Kurt Curious Life, did a video making some direct comparisons between the operation of the ISS versus the operation of a submarine. And it's absolutely astounding. They should have very similar procedural things that they have to go with, and yet there's nothing of the same. The ISS appears to be more of a Hollywood show than anything, but we already knew that. But yeah, feel free. Go ahead and throw in some comments.
Talking about the procedures, when they're talking about, if something breaks here or something breaks there, what do you do? I know I've heard you guys talk about everybody on that submarine knows how to save that ship. They're trained in everything with flooding, fire, and anything of that nature. So to hear them say, oh, I guess there's some procedure somewhere that we would follow, I could take you to the exact procedure, the exact place where the book is, and point it out line by line, the one that I would follow if I were to do any type of maintenance or any type of reactionary emergency thing on a submarine. Also, when we're down there and we're underwater, so we're in a closed capsule and we're trapped down there. We have a forward escape trunk and we have an aft escape trunk, and we're supposed to use those to escape. However, nobody on that submarine and any submariner will tell you this, that no one will ever use those in their lives to save anybody, because that you would probably die anyway trying to use it. So we would look to save the ship to begin with. That's just one aspect. And then another thing, you always talk about how the hatches on a submarine, there's only one watertight door, besides the ones that are on the hull of the submarine to get in and out. And it's just located between the aft compartment and the forward compartment. And that's the only, and so if there's flooding in the aft compartment, we close that one watertight door. If there's flooding in the forward compartment, we close that watertight door. And, if you're on one side, you're screwed. On the other side, you're screwed. But
right now,
things like that.
Don't most of the bulkheads have hatches, watertight hatches on them as well?
No. There's one, so on a destroyer, like a destroyer or a surface ship, there's watertight doors on those when they could seal off doors if there's flooding on the hull. Like if it gets struck on a certain side of the hull, you could seal off a compartment, and yeah, you might be able to save a section. On a submarine, it's totally different. There's only the one that separates the forward compartment from the aft compartment that is actually like a watertight door. There's another one that's in the sonar dome that people don't talk about, but that one's kind of just like, it's not really affected mostly when it deals with the submarine. But and then the other ones would be, just the hatches that you use to, go down in the forward part of the submarine and the aft part of the submarine.
Okay.
But
Very
yeah.
good.
So, and then the last thing I want to touch on is they talk about the water and stuff that they create up there in space, and I hear them talking about all these things. And because on the submarine we have to create our own water at the sea as well, and we basically dump the water overboard, and we bring that water back on board, and we use a 10K distiller. And I can tell you right now, nobody on board knows how that thing works. We don't know how it turns, it turns all this seawater and everything into, drinkable water. It just goes into the bottled water tanks. Everyone just says, okay, yep, it works. Somebody put it in there, and yeah, it tastes pretty good. Also with the, I'm sorry, I'm rambling on here. I'll let you guys go.
No worries.
I have one question for him too when you get a chance.
Okay.
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
Yeah. Have you ever been a part of what I think it's called Angles and Dangles or something like that?
Oh, absolutely. I know, and I can. What you try to do is you try to go out and you try to break the submarine. Is basically what that is. You're going to go. I call it going all ahead stupid. So we could probably do about 40 knots, right? You ring up 40 knots on that bell. Ding, ding, ding. Sends it back to the engine room. They ring it up. And we go all ahead stupid, and then the captain's like, all right, let's do a 15-degree rudder turn, and everybody just hold on to your butt, basically. And you're trying to break everything, and things are coming out of the overhead, You know, shapes are shifting down in the torpedo room. There's radar systems that are falling off bulkhead. Like it's insane. But we got to do that. We got to test the submarine to see if we can, you know, if we can break it, so it's good to go. But that absolutely does happen.
So I've seen video of them doing it when they have like basically a guy will be standing, and then before you know it, he's leaning at like 45 or even a greater angle.
Yep.
So what are they doing that's causing people inside the submarine to do that kind of angle? Are they surfacing, or they're not going down, right?
No. So what they're doing, so there's angles and angles where you'll be turning and going up and down. But the one that the example there is they're doing an emergency blow. So we're going down to set depth. Let's say we go down to like 800 feet, 900 feet. And then the chief of the watch is going to blow the chicken switches. So they're going to blow the air tanks full of air, and we're going to shoot to the surface, and we're going to go up just like almost straight up. And then that's when you see those videos online, and you see those submarines shooting out of the water. But you will go up at an angle, and everything will, you know, you will be tilted back, and you'll be leaning kind of like that Michael Jackson's Moon Thriller thing or whatever, you know, like when he's like dancing, you know, and he leans over. Like, yeah, you do that. But yeah, when you get to the surface, though, yeah, what a lot of people don't know is that you have to keep blowing. You have to keep blowing air through the tanks. If you don't keep blowing air through the tanks, that submarine will just sink right back to the bottom because the ballast was all thrown off when she went. But
right.
Interesting.
Yeah, I mean, I hear you guys talk about this stuff all the time, but I'm just like, you know, some of the stuff you say, like the crew members and stuff. There's a Fast Attack type submarine, and then there's a Trident submarine. Fast Attack has a smaller crew. Trident has the same amount of crew, but it's a bigger submarine. However, there's probably about 75 enlisted and maybe like 20 officers. So close to 100 people on board. And then the only other thing that relates to the ISS that I could give you guys is the atmosphere monitoring equipment that we have on board. Like we have to keep the carbon monoxide levels, carbon dioxide levels, we have to keep that all down because we want to stay submerged at all times. And the captain never wants to surface because the most dangerous place for a submarine is on the surface. And so he wants to stay down at all times. And so our scrubbers and burners are constantly churning out, recycling the air. And then we also want to, add oxygen to the system as well, so we're not breathing that. And there's actually another system on board. There's an oxygen generator, just like the 10K distiller, which nobody knows how to operate. Like, we never turn it on. We've never turned it on because we don't know how it works. And it's not because it's like somebody somewhere knows how it works and there's like an operation manual, but you gotta think you have enlisted people 18 to 24 years old. They're trying to operate this like highly sophisticated equipment within under like 2 years while they're doing all their other work. Like, they're just not going to do it. So it just never turns on.
Yeah.
So how many people would be like the minimum that you would need to just operate the submarine from an operational standpoint? I mean, what would be the minimum? I'm talking minimum submarine. So what would be the minimum amount of people you need?
So that's why you get your warfare pen. They call them your dolphins. Is because you learn everybody's job. And so really all you need is a guy manning the engine room, somebody control, a fire technician, an ET, just a regular electrician, maybe a radio man, and then like a mechanic of some sort, and maybe a sonar tech. 5 to 6 guys, maybe 10 guys could operate that whole thing by themselves if they really wanted to. Everybody else just kind of like kaputs and went dead. Those dudes could get it done. And that's no joke, like, because it's not that hard to operate. You got one guy, just turning on the turbines back half, running the plant. You got a mechanic up forward running stuff. You got somebody on the helm driving the ship, and you got somebody charting a course. And you have someone to fire your missiles and stuff. That's all you need, and you'd be good to go.
And that's just simply to run the submarine. I mean, they wouldn't be doing any experiments or running around in gorilla suits or anything like that, right? That would take extra people.
No.
Yeah.
No, I see what you're saying. No, yeah, those guys up there, well, here's the thing. 90% of the time spent on that submarine is done doing what, do you think? Maintenance and cleaning. And cleaning. That's all that's done. And I don't ever see those guys cleaning. And we're talking like every single day we're cleaning, where that thing has been up there, 18 years? And nobody's cleaning up there. It's just kind of crazy to think about this stuff.
Yeah. Hey, I have a question for you. Do you know how far they can see with the periscopes?
How far they can see with the periscopes?
Yeah.
I don't know exact numbers on the periscopes. I remember thinking about my days being up there at the lookout, looking out at stuff, and actually, trying to think back, try to help you guys out with some of that stuff, looking to the horizon, all those sort of things. they taught us, but I don't remember. I don't remember that far back.
Yeah.
Training.
No, it's been a while. Huh?
Yeah.
How often do you get sections of the submarine that would have? I don't mean a leak as in anything catastrophic, but any seals, any that are just having a leak, a little bit of water coming in, little drips here and there. Is that a normal thing, or is that extremely rare?
Damage to the hull, probably, unless you encountered like some type of crash or something. But I think it's called like CHXT or something. Is what the hull is made of that submarine. It's super like if a submarine hits a surface ship, usually the surface ship is destroyed and the submarine's okay because whatever like it's made of, they'll just bounce right off it. You could take like a screw and you could stand on like the pier and you could throw it at it, and that screw will bounce off that submarine and shoot like 50 to 100 feet in the other direction for just how like strong it is. Now leaks in the hull, that probably, I've never seen that, never seen leaks in the hull. The only type of like flooding and fires that ever happen are due to, us messing something up. Some like maintenance that we did that we left something off and it was unscrewed and then water came in there. But as far as leaks in the hull, the seals with valves and stuff, yeah, we got to change that stuff out all the time. But the hull itself, you probably won't see damage to the hull. And there's no like, oh, we got a leak over here, like a leaky boat. No, that's not happening.
No, that's more what I'm saying is like the sections where you said like the seals or the any kind of little access points. I thought I remembered seeing some, and I think it was an older submarine, probably 80s, the documentary I was watching, but it was like constantly there would be water coming in around a little, there's like a little plug or something, and there would be water coming in. It would be constantly patching up these water holes. I know yours is not back in the 80s, I'm sure, when you were on.
Yeah. Maybe out of the hatches going down to the hole, all those have like, the O-rings and maintenance that need to be done, and they got to be greased in certain places, maybe out of the sail. You might get some leakage out of there, some water may come out of there, but that would get fixed, readily, like once we got back into port, like, okay, this was leaking, we need to get this checked out and get this, so it becomes, somebody will come in and QA, quality assurance, and run over it and make sure everything tests down to like, the micromillimeter so that there is no more liquid. But that maintenance is being done, though, on all that stuff all the time, so that doesn't happen.
I've got a quick question. How do you service all of the sensitive equipment that's mounted on the outside of the submarine?
You wouldn't. So the only things that ever get touched on the outside of the submarine are done in port, and they're like connections, like our sanitary connection or our water connection. When we pull into the port, we got to put that up. It's on the outside. We're not doing that.
So all of your sensitive electronic equipment is not on the outside of the sub. It's all on the inside.
Exactly. Right.
All right.
It would be. Yeah. That's another silly thing. No one ever designed it like that.
That was my ISS reference. Thank you. I'll be here all day.
Yeah, that would make too much sense to, just keep it all on the inside, wouldn't it? Where it's serviceable.
Right.
So they have to do a spacewalk. Well, beautiful. Well, thank you so much for calling in. You've been very informative. Appreciate it.
Cool. Yeah, thanks, guys. I might call in again one of these other times. I just got to get something out there. I listened to you guys for a long time. You guys are the best.
Awesome.
David White, I've listened to you too, man. Bob, Karen, Alex, you cool. All you guys keep doing what you're doing. We're out here.
Will do. Thank you so much for calling.
Yep.
All right. Bye-bye. Wow. Awesome. So imagine that. They keep all the serviceable stuff on the inside of the submarine. That
makes no sense at all.
I know, right? Those Navy engineers are going to have to take a lesson from NASA, I guess. So that's crazy.
From the capital city of the United States of America, Washington, D.C., ladies and gentlemen, let's get ready to rumble!
Hey guys, today's intellectual grudge match is between the reality of submarines versus the alleged reality of the International Space Station. So let's introduce the contestants and see how they match up.
4,500 pounds per square inch high pressure air everywhere you can reach. We've got 450 volt AC power, 250 volt DC power. We have fans and pumps. We propel it with a nuclear reactor, and then we take it out and intentionally sink it in salt water. That's not inherently safe.
Have a birthday party in space, and by mistake one balloon goes and can ruin the whole party.
Yeah. But it's neat to blow a balloon up and then let go of it. It goes.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Submarines operate in harsh environments with corrosive seawater and at depths where they are subjected to extremely high pressures. A submarine is a complicated ship with thousands of pumps, motors, generators, turbines, and valves that have to be kept in proper working order. When they're not on deployment, about once a quarter, submarines enter an upkeep or refit maintenance period, which lasts about 4 weeks, during which the submarine is repaired to full capacity. After the maintenance period, submarines go to sea for sea trials where they test out the repaired systems, which normally includes a controlled dive down to test depth. In order to do all of this and operate a submarine, it has an average crew of about 150. Next we have the ISS.
Here's one from Peter Manley. Would a balloon pop in space?
So this is interesting.
Well, a balloon will pop inside a station because I've done that. Because I brought some balloons for my kid's birthday celebration. And
I didn't know that.
I accidentally popped one, and they go bang.
Did you get in trouble for it? Did your kids complain about that?
No,
Did they know about it?
They didn't know about it. Anyway,
here's
so
Dad doing his best.
So look at these major elements assembled. We have the FGB Zarya Unity, 3 pressurized mating adapters, service module, the trusses, laboratories, airlocks, trusses, more trusses, and we're supposed to believe they were all assembled by these guys in their dockers and socks and their fancy rings and watches. I mean, do these guys look like they're constructing any kind of space station or even snapping it together? I mean, look at all this wiring and, who's welding and riveting. And I mean, if it was real, it would be workers like these guys, real construction workers, real Navy workers, real people who build real things, not these phony baloney people with space hair and wearing their, like I said, fancy jewelry and watches in space when they should look like construction workers if they're up there fixing all these adapters and valves and pipes and maintaining the space station. But anyways, so what kind of crew does it take to actually construct and then maintain and operate this gigantic space station in the most extreme environment known to mankind? The answer is about 5 men or women, depending on the rating. So, next round.
Tend to come left, course 180 to open range these contacts. Carry on.
Carry on, aye, sir.
Pilot all 2/3.
All at 2/3, pilot aye.
John Stick at the view, control coming course 180.
Set continuous.
TW, John Stick, aye.
All stack nearing answers all at 2/3.
Arrow pilot. Pilot left 20 degrees rudder, steady course 180.
Left 20 degrees rudder, steady course 180, pilot aye.
And what I find super cool about being a flight controller is really the ability to sit on console and command a few things. And the entire International Space Station, which is, say, the size of a football field, can rotate 180 degrees. And that's something that I can do as a flight controller. So since I can't be an astronaut, I think it's the next best cool thing to do.
this?
A submarine is incredibly complex with a lot of equipment and something always breaks. Each division sets aside time for corrective maintenance. Submarines have a lot of redundancy and can function with broken equipment while it's being repaired. Navy ships have a maintenance philosophy called preventive maintenance, where equipment is maintained according to a set schedule, just like getting an oil change every 3,000 miles. Submarines operate on a 6-hour watch cycle. The crew is divided into 3 watch sections, and each section stands watch for 6 hours, then gets 12 hours off. During those 12 hours off, a crew member eats, sleeps, trains, and conducts maintenance. As a result, the crew operates on an 18-hour work day. Then there's the engine room, which houses the main engines, electrical turbine generators, electrical motor generators, distillers, and oxygen generators. Now, submarines normally have 2 of everything, and this is because a lot of stuff breaks and you just can't run down to the hardware store when you're underwater or if you're up in space. So they have 2 main engines, 2 electrical turbine generators, 2 motor generators for charging to and fro the battery, and sometimes 4 of them depending on the submarine's class. Also 4 main feed pumps, 4 condensate pumps, etc. And the 2 biggest threats to a submarine are flooding and fire. Unlike surface ships with lots of compartments, if a single compartment gets flooded on a submarine, besides the reactor, the submarine is going to the bottom. The compartments are simply too large, and even with an emergency blow, there isn't enough reserve buoyancy. So stopping any flooding quickly is crucial. Now, fire is the next most dangerous hazard on a submarine. Now, it's a closed environment, and the compartments fill up quickly with toxic gases and thick black smoke. Fires can spread rapidly, destroying any vital equipment. Unlike the ISS, where they don't care if water goes spraying on all their computers. So the crew of a submarine trains constantly, both ashore and at sea, perfecting their skills against these 2 deadly contingencies. Submarine crews conduct engineering drills, ship drills, fire control drills, drill after drill, with the crew fighting a never-ending affliction of things that could possibly go wrong. And ship-wide, the crew runs flooding and fire drills, attempting to anticipate every type of malfunction that could occur. They're deadly serious on the submarine, unlike someone we know. And last but not least, we have the batteries on a submarine. Nuclear submarine batteries, they're small compared to the batteries of diesel submarines, and they'll provide power only for a few hours before becoming drained. So before that happens, the submarine either has to be at periscope depth, which with its emergency diesel generator supporting electrical loads, or have identified and repaired the fault in the reactor. The submarine's battery isn't one battery, but typically 126 or so battery cells connected together. And each cell is quite large, maybe 1 by 1 by 5 foot tall. And as the battery is drained, it's monitored to ensure that none of the cells begin reversing polarity, which means they've become drained and they begin charging themselves at the expense of the remaining battery cells. And at that point, you're in big trouble. So, yeah, and it's very strange that they only get a few hours of battery power on a sub as their backup when that's all the ISS operates on. So, that's very interesting. And to summarize the workload of the ISS astronauts, we have Chris Hadfield, who will open up a freeze-dried emergency kit, just like the freeze-dried ice cream in space, and show us what to do in the case of a deadly emergency, such as a fire or a micrometeorite that blasts through the station and causes all of the air to just explode outward, because remember, you have the vacuum of space, the gigantic universe that is a vacuum that is ultra powerful that would just explode the air right out of the station. So let's hear what he has to say.
And you of course want to protect your eyes. So you put on goggles, and you want to protect your mucous membranes and your lungs. So we put on a mask, try not to break it. Okay, so now I have my mask and my goggles on, and then we want to protect our hands. We have special gloves that protect us against chemicals. They're called silver shield gloves. So I put on the silver shield glove, and now I am ready with various types of absorbing things. And in fact, we have some great big ones, special silk mitts that we could put on top of a nasty spill, and then at the end of it, if you have the right type of combination, you could hold it in your hand and carefully pull off your glove. And now you've got a nasty thing on the space station, but we would wrap it inside 2 or 3 layers of containment, bags that close, zip up, until we're sure that it's not going to leak out. And then, finally, we're safe, and we can take off our gloves and our goggles and our mask and carry on with the business of being astronauts. Good question. Ground control to Major Tom. Ground control to Major Tom. Lock your Soyuz hatch and put your helmet on. Ground control to Major Tom. Commencing countdown, engines on. Detach from station and may God's love be with you.